Hi everyone, in this tutorial we're going to look at how to enter a calculated formula question in Blackboard Ultra. So I'll begin with a simple physics problem and see how you can encode this problem using the correct syntax in Blackboard Ultra. So in this calculated formula example, a plane accelerates uniformly from rest at a rate of 10 meters per second squared. Calculate its speed at the end of a 200-meter runway. So the idea here is to encode the problem so that any student taking this test will get a different set of values for the acceleration and for the length of the runway, and they will have to use these values to compute the speed of the plane at the end of the runway. So the correct syntax for this problem in Blackboard Ultra will look like this. So basically the same wording, but this time we're going to replace the acceleration and the length of the runway by two variables in square brackets. So this way Blackboard will recognize a as a variable and x as a variable, and then it will give you the option to specify the range of values you want. So let's look at the solution, the formula that we will need to enter for Blackboard to compute the values for each pair of variables that will be generated for the students. So the solution to this problem is based on the kinematics equations for uniformly accelerated motion. We know that for a body that is accelerated uniformly from the initial and final velocities and acceleration are related by this equation. Since the plane is accelerated uniformly from rest, that means the initial velocity is 0 and the final velocity depends just on the acceleration and the length of the runway, in this case delta x. So the equation that we need to enter in Blackboard is square root of 2a times x, or delta x. So let's head over to Blackboard. In Blackboard, you're going to navigate to any content area where you want to create the test. In this example, I've created a temporary content area, and so inside this area, which I can access by clicking the this arrow to expand, and then I'll click on create, and on the right panel I'll click on test, and then I'll name the test calculated formula example. And here I have the option to build my test, to add questions, or to import questions. So I'll click on this plus, and among these options, the second option is add calculated formula question. So click on that, and here I'm going to type the text of the test. So I'll say a plane accelerate uniformly from rest at a rate of, and I'll put my acceleration as a variable in square parentheses, meters per second squared. So I can obtain the upper script here, this superscript. So 8 meters per second squared full stop. Calculate its speed at the end of an x meter runway. So that's my question. Immediately Blackboard recognizes the a and the x as variables, and in the space for the answer formula, we already determined the speed to be the square root of 2 times the acceleration times the displacement. So I'll just select the square root of 2 times a times x. And I do not want to display this to the students because students have the list of the equations. I expect them to identify the right equation and transform it to the desired form to find the missing variable. So I'll hit next. Now here I'm going to go with, you can go with decimal places or significant figures. So I can say keep the answer to, let's say 2 or 3 significant figures. Display the settings. Allow full credit if answer is within a chosen range. So I'll give credit if the answer is within plus or minus 0. Let's say plus or minus 0.1 of the correct answer. You can also select percentage. Allow partial credit if answer is within a chosen range. So these are further refinements that you can use to determine extra partial credit if a student is off, but not by much. Now another setting, or the main setting that you want to change here, is to define the minimum value of A and the maximum value. So I'm going to go from 5 to 10, and I'm going to allow like 2 decimal places. And then X, I'll go from let's say 10 to 200. And 2 decimal places as well. Number of sets, so I have roughly 73 students that that will take this test, so I can say maybe 100 sets. And then step number 3. So here, using this formula, Blackboard has generated 100 different sets, and for each pair of A and X, the computed value of the speed is shown on the 3rd column. If you're satisfied, you can save and continue. If not, you can go back and change your ranges and then repopulate. And whenever you're satisfied, you can click on save, and there you have it. So you have your calculated formula question. Now let's try and see what students will see in a live test. So I'm going to make this visible for now, and then I'll go back and make this area also visible. Then I'll go to student preview mode. So I'm entering this course now like a student. So I'll go to the temp folder and I'll click on calculated formula example, and then I'll click on view assessment. Okay, and here you can see a randomly generated set of variables. The plane accelerates uniformly from rest at 8.57 meters per second squared. Calculate its speed at the end of a 61.37 meter runway. Round your answer to 3 significant figures. So we know the answer should be square root of 2 times a times x. So a is 8.57, so 2 times so square root of 2 times 8.57 times 61.37. And the answer is 32.43. So I'm going to enter 32.4. That's 3 significant figures. And let's see. Submit. Okay, so 10 out of 10. So indeed the answer is correct. So there you have it. The calculated formula question does work, in Blackboard Ultra. So this is the question, and this is my answer, and it happened to be the correct answer.